Neuralink, literally the absolute edge of human evolution. Imagine being able to just save your brain state, exactly like a video game. Look, Elon Musk didn't just want to cure diseases here. His ultimate vision for Neuralink, absolute symbiosis with artificial intelligence. And the reason why is actually kind of terrifying. He sees unchecked AI as a literal existential threat to humanity. So the idea is we either merge with the machine or we get left behind as an endangered species. It's a high-stakes race, guys, and every single second of this story is packed with pure suspense. So what's next? Well, to make a radical vision like that a reality, you need cash. Fast, massive capital. By early 2019, Neuralink had already locked down $158 million in funding. And get this, a staggering $100 million of that came straight out of Musk's own pocket. The whole foundation of this tech? It's literally ripped right out of a sci-fi novel. Musk was deeply inspired by this concept called a neural lace from A.M. Banks' The Culture series. He's envisioning this digital layer sitting right above your cortex, able to just upload and download information. But how do you actually bridge that massive gap between a sci-fi paperback and a living, breathing human brain? You build hardware like the world has never seen. 3,072. That is the mind-bending number of individual electrodes packed into the microscopic probes of just a single Neuralink formation. The sheer density of this tech is absolutely unbelievable. They literally engineered an application-specific integrated circuit to create a 1,536-channel recording system. The endgame? To translate the biological firing of your neurons straight into understandable digital binary code. But that brings us to an impossible problem. How do you physically get over 3,000 electrodes inside a living human head? See, traditional brain probes, they're rigid, they're clunky, and honestly, they can cause some serious tissue damage. Neuralink just completely threw that old playbook out the window. They engineered these incredibly flexible threads made primarily out of polyamide, which is a highly biocompatible material. Now, how thin are we actually talking here? 4 to 6 micrometers in width. To put that into perspective, that is a tiny fraction of the width of a single human hair. It's almost invisible. But here is the ultimate micro cliffhanger for you. How on earth could human hands possibly implant thousands of these flimsy microscopic threads directly into a beating, moving brain without just destroying the tissue? Here's the secret. Human hands don't do it. A completely custom surgical robot does. It's like something out of the future. Step 1. An imaging stack right inside the inserter head guides the targeting and viewing in real time. Step 2. This highly specialized pincher grabs a tiny 50 micrometer insertion loop. Step 3. A needle made of tungsten rhenium, measuring just 25 micrometers across, safely penetrates the meninges and the cerebral tissue. And Step 4. A linear motor rapidly fires these flexible probes directly into the brain at an absolutely relentless speed. We're talking inserting 192 electrodes every single minute. It is an absolute engineering marvel. But what is the hidden cost of this rapid, relentless innovation? When a tech company operates on a super-rushed, intense timeline, especially in the highly sensitive realm of neurology, extreme pressure builds behind the scenes. And that pressure leads us directly into one of the most intense and controversial medical thrillers of our time. Between 2018 and 2022, Neuralink tested their devices on at least 1,500 animals, pigs, sheep, and monkeys. Now, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, or PCRM, came forward and alleged that these experiments resulted in extreme suffering, chronic confections, paralysis, and brain swelling in the test subjects. These are heavy claims, and they actually triggered serious high-level federal investigations by both the USDA and the SEC. On the other side, Neuralink strongly denied the allegations of animal abuse. They stated that while animals were euthanized, it was strictly due to unavoidable surgical complications, and they maintained that their animal testing was absolutely necessary for development and rigorously followed regulatory standards. Ultimately, it was this massive head-on collision between move-fast tech culture and strict medical oversight. And all of this immense tension finally reached a breaking point in 2022. The FDA outright rejected Neuralink's application to pursue human clinical trials. It was a massive hurdle for the company. The FDA cited 3 completely devastating concerns. First up, major safety risks regarding the device's internal lithium battery. Second, the terrifying potential for those tiny 4 micromotor wires to actually migrate to entirely different areas of the brain. And third, really serious questions over whether the device could ever be safely removed without destroying the surrounding brain tissue. The suspense was totally palpable.
With these internal reports of rushed timelines leaking out, people really started to wonder, could Neuralink's fast-moving culture actually survive these structural life-or-death safety hurdles? Well, they absolutely did. By May 2023, they somehow secured FDA approval, and it led right to this historic, emotional climax. In January 2024, the very first human patient, a 29-year-old named Nolan Arbaugh, received the implant. Nolan is a quadriplegic who tragically lost his movement after a diving accident. And his story just brutally illustrates the raw, life-changing power of this technology. Pretty soon after surgery, Nolan was able to move a computer cursor, play music, and literally play chess, using entirely his thoughts. Like he said, it gave him the ability to do things on his own again. For anyone watching this unfold, it was an undeniable, monumental triumph for brain-computer interfaces. But in any great innovation thriller, right after the major triumph comes the terrifying twist. In the weeks following his surgery, a shocking 85% of Nolan's implanted threads completely retracted and detached from his brain tissue. Why? Well, the human brain actually moves around inside the skull, and Nolan's brain shifted approximately 3 times as much as Neuralink had originally expected. It was literally the exact thing the FDA had worried about, hardware stability inside a moving human brain. It was happening in real time, drastically reducing his number of functional electrodes. Yet, the company adapted at blistering speed. Enter patient 2, a guy known as Alex. During his surgery in August 2024, the team reduced brain motion and placed the implant closer to the brain's surface. The result? They completely mitigated the thread retraction. Since the operation, Alex has experienced 0 thread retraction. Seriously, the redemption arc here is absolutely insane. Alex isn't just moving a simple cursor around. He is designing complex 3D CAD models, using Autodesk Fusion to literally create a custom mount for his own Neuralink charger. And he's out there dominating first-person shooter video games at a higher level than he could even before his spinal cord injury. They unlocked an entirely new, unprecedented level of digital autonomy. And hey, if you think this is the peak, what is coming next is going to leave you completely speechless. Neuralink is already hard at work on their next generation project, and it's called Blindsight. In September 2024, it was officially granted breakthrough device status by the US federal government. The goal of Blindsight? To enable blind people whose visual cortex is still undamaged to actually regain some level of vision. And the pace of this expansion is just incredible right now. Trials are moving internationally as we speak, with Canada's very first Neuralink brain implant surgeries recently performed in Toronto. This technological thriller is quite literally just getting started. Which brings us to the ultimate provocative question we all really need to face. As we step closer and closer to actual, real-life human telepathy, digital enhancement, and full brain-to-machine symbiosis, who will control the future of the human mind? When your thoughts, your vision, and your actions can be hacked, read, or saved like a literal digital file, the ethical implications are as vast and dangerous as the technology itself. Think deeply about that, because this changes absolutely everything about what it means to be human. To unpack exactly how we got here, watch this explainer again from the very beginning. You literally cannot afford to miss a single detail.